Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Groomer Next Door. I am your host, Chris Green, and sitting next to me is Sarah.
Hello.
Well, first of all, let's start off this week. This is episode 6 of the Groomer Next Door, and this episode we're going to start out with a few mentions, a few thank yous that need to go out. Over the last 2 weeks since we started recording this show, we actually have grown quite a lot. We're actually at 785 currently, and that is as of right now. A couple mentions I like to give to a few of the different sites. Animal Love Pass the Word on Facebook has been very supportive of us. They're a local group out of California that looks to help spread word about different dogs that need to be adopted, and they've been doing a great job this week, and they've been very supportive of our show. So again, Animal Love Pass the Word, thank you very much for all that you've done for us. The other one I like to mention has been absolutely wonderful. We just got in touch with you guys yesterday, and that would be AKITA World. Obviously, we have an AKITA, so we joined their group. It is a closed group, needing to be permitted by their administrator, but a very good group.
And an AKITA is not like a husky, Siberian husky, Alaskan husky.
German Shepherd.
They're a lot different. AKITA is a breed all on its own.
Very true. Very true. They are a great loving dog. We were fortunate enough to adopt ours. I think we mentioned it back in episode 1 or 2. So we were very fortunate. So AKITA World, thank you very much. This episode is actually based on what transpired today, which was absolutely positive. And so that's where we're going to go with. My last one that I'd like to give a nice mention to would be the Rolla Saddle Club. Obviously, we are located in Rolla, Missouri, so it is very important that we get our community into everything. The Rolla Saddle Club was very kind in a lot of different things that they had said about us this week. These are not mentions because they're paid advertisement. Each one of these you can find on Facebook. They have just been very supportive of our show so far, and we do appreciate that.
Definitely the one page that I'm really, I guess you can say, addicted to is the AKITA World. Everybody has a particular breed that they just love. You got the Schnauzer lovers, you have Jack Russell lovers, you got Bichon lovers, Maltese lovers. It just so happened that when I was a very young girl, my dad brought home our very first AKITA. And he had AKITAs back in the early 70s too. Back when, I guess, from what he said, AKITAs were pretty rare. But he's had many in his life. Well, Shogun was just an absolute protector. We didn't play as much because that wasn't his job. For what reason, I'm not sure. I was in like first grade. And then we ended up with a second AKITA later on. His name was Ronan. Ronan was an amazing American AKITA. He was so much fun. He played. He was huge. And then now we have Katana. So AKITAs really pulled to my heartstrings because, after my dad's passing, I just one of those loves that my dad installed into me. So AKITA World, I am all about. I love seeing the other AKITAs, different colors, their different attitudes, their different likes and dislikes. And it's nice to connect with other owners of AKITAs.
And, like every other dog breed, which, we're only in episode 6, we will cover all different breeds as time goes on. This is a very new podcast, so it's brand new. We have not been able to cover really anything except for the bare minimums. We do have further episodes that are pending. We have a local one in town. As we had mentioned, we will do a lot of our recordings will be locally here in town with service dogs. We are going to be trying to do different events within our parameters, unfortunately, but we are going to try to do other events that have to do with dogs, dog conventions. We actually have heard of one dog show type event.
Yeah, we're going to be, hopefully it's going to work out with our schedule because we do have our wedding anniversary coming up, but hopefully it falls on the right weekend where we can follow Keith and Carla about an hour away from here. They show they show miniature dachshunds. And I would love to go and talk to, the show groomers, because I'll never say I'm a show groomer. I am a pet groomer. I groom all types of pets. But I will never say that I know how to do a show cut here or a show cut there. So it'll be interesting to have a conversation with a couple of them.
And it would be really interesting to hear what goes into it. I mean, this is always going to be a dog love first kind of show. Like we had said, as time is going on, this show keeps evolving by the day. Each day we're finding new things to talk about. Our show notes are just going absolutely crazy.
Yeah, because at first, talking about a podcast of grooming, I was like, well, you'll have maybe 3 episodes. I can cram everything in 3 episodes. Well, come to find out, you really can't. Because I tried pushing all of how to bathe a dog properly in 1 episode, and I didn't get to things. After we were done, I was like, oh shoot, I forgot this. Oh, I forgot that. So we do have quite a few episodes, and when we get together with the community, it just expands.
Which has been great about AKITA World.
Yeah.
We have, and that's diving into the topic of today. If anybody who was part of the discussion, I'm going to go with, if anybody was part of that discussion who's listening right now to this podcast, you'll kind of know exactly how it transpired. A lot of you were over in England during this discussion that we had today, so part of the pros and cons of the discussion was from over in Europe. And some were good, some were not so good. But like we always say, we'd like to hear the good and the bad.
Tell you one thing, AKITA owners are passionate.
Yep.
They are so passionate about their pet. The only problem that I really had with some of the negative stuff that they said was that you gotta realize, no, I don't see any one person knowing 100% every single detail of a specific breed unless you've taken courses and so forth. But we had a lot of feedback, and I was grateful for some of the comments that they said that might not have been very flattering, but hey, you know what, that's how we learn, that's how we expand, that's how we be better people in general. And knowing how to handle comments like that.
And criticism.
Exactly.
This was a very enlightening day. So I hope that a lot of you who are listening right now were part of that discussion. I'm not going to mention anybody by name. I'm not going to pull anybody out of pocket. Excuse me. But whenever I post, you're going to see my name come up with a picture of our AKITA, and it's going to say Christopher Green on there. I'm always going to be posting on AKITA World, and I will be posting like I do on many different breeds, many different pages. And I love to have conversations with many people with all types of breeds. But our discussion today had to do with pet dying. And there's a lot of misconception to that.
Right, there is. I know you posted a picture of our AKITA Katana with her rainbow-colored tail.
Yep.
And just for a real quick side note, I just read on the posting, somebody was thinking our rainbow-colored dog tail was a sign of gay pride. That was never intended. I wanted to see what all the colors look like together.
Right.
Now, the particular photo that was posted on AKITA World, it was an actual airbrushing. It wasn't the full-on dyeing. And the airbrushing is completely safe, non-toxic, and completely washable. There's no harsh chemicals, no harsh smells. There's no smell at all. I mean, if anything, it smells like vinegar. And vinegar is actually a very good thing for pups.
Everything that's been used on our dog and any dog that comes into our salon, it is 100% safe for a dog. It is safe for a human, nonetheless. It is very organic. Nothing that we would put on these dogs would we ever put any kind of dog, especially our own, but any dog for that matter, would we ever put in harm's way. With, for instance, the tail on our rainbow-colored tail. It was actually a test. We were testing out the colors, as Sarah was saying. Some actually were more of a pop than others. We even had a person comment they noticed the little cutie mark on the side of the dog, which nobody else noticed.
Oh yeah, the little monkey. And what we did too before we even tested on Katana was that I sprayed it on myself. And I am extremely sensitive to perfumes. I'm actually allergic to dogs in general. I have to take antihistamines, but I will never give up grooming. I don't care about some stupid allergy. But I know there's some dogs that would lick me, and I break out in little bumps, just like what I do when we play with Roxy, our dog, who's a lab mix. So I took the airbrushing, I sprayed it on me, did a little cute design that lasted for a little bit, and I saw it was fine with me. My daughter thought it was pretty cool, so I put a little airbrushing mark on her. She absolutely loved it. She was a little upset when she took a bath that night and washed right off. But and then we decided to try it on Katana. So we do trials. We do a lot of what we can to make sure that the pups do not have reactions to anything. We read the ingredients. We make sure we're on top of it.
And we do study a lot. I mean, we use a very fancy website called Google.
Yeah.
And we do Google a lot of different techniques that are out there. The great thing about what we're doing is it's not original. We've never claimed to be original in anything. What we are original on is that we take a current design and we will modify it. And we make sure that everything is safe. I mean, it has to be safer for a dog than anything else. We really do care about what we're doing, and we really do care that the people who entrust us with their pup, they're going to get their dog back in better shape than when they bring them in.
Exactly. There are other dog coloring kits out there. I've seen them. I have not used them, but when they sell it in a jar, it just sets off too many alarms in my head. I want to be more natural than that. Yes, when we do the coloring, the stuff has to sit in a lot longer than if you bought the jarred kind of particular dog color. You can set that on for 5 minutes and the dog's tail is going to be as bright as can be. Well, the way we do it is less abrasive. It's going to have to wait longer, stay on longer, to get more of a pale look. But it's not overpowering, and after a few washes, comes out.
And we also have a secondary type that is very temporary. I mean, it's as temporary as taking a simple water bottle, squirting a couple squirts of water on the dog, and it literally wipes off.
Right. It's the airbrushing, like I said earlier. The rainbow colored tail the Katana has, that's airbrushed.
Mm-hmm.
And although it doesn't last as long as the actual coloring, it's still very pretty, especially if you got Valentine's Day coming up, just past actually, but
St.
St.
Patrick's
Pat's, Easter, Christmas, New Year's. I mean, we can probably get as creative as if you want to bring your dog in and have words written on, "Will you marry me?" We'll do it.
Right. We've tried to conceptualize a lot of different ideas. We are in a small town. We're not in Los Angeles like we used to be. Maybe that's a little bit of why we are a little bit more expanded mentally, because we did grow up in such a big metropolitan, glitz and glamour type environment. But we do feed off of each other, including this podcast. Sarah, as I've said before, and since I have this availability to time capsule it, my wife is my muse. She inspires me to reach for the stars and beyond. My daughter is the same way. So when we've sat down in the last 6 months since I've been doing this with her, it has been a consistent, what can we do to improve in what's already a great service that we can provide? How can we improve on it? How can we make it more trendy? And not everybody's going to want it.
Right. One of the main things that was said on that post is to each his own. And that's exactly right. You wouldn't believe the things I've seen come through my salon doors. I've seen people who have pierced a dog's ear and put an earring in it. I've seen that twice. I pray to goodness that it does not catch on. I've seen people actually dye their dog with human hair coloring. That's a no-no. I've seen so much, and so we wanted to give an alternate outlook on things you can do to, add a little something to your dog.
Right.
It's if the dogs don't mind, what does it matter?
Well, excuse me, I'm sorry. That's kind of how it all works out. I do apologize. I got a bit of coffee there. It's just like feather flare. I think we briefly talked about what we do with feathers. Everything that we're doing, it's really honestly just to kind of blend your likes with your dog's likes. And, we have had a couple middle-aged people come in and actually want to have their dog colored. Majority of the people are ranging from late teens into their 30s. It's one of those things. We see it all the time where we see people with piercings and tattoos and colored hair. It's just an expression. It's art at its best. That's how I see it. I said that today on the page. A lot of you can understand that. Some of you disagree. For those of you who are overseas in Europe, I actually was over there last year. I was working. I know how things are. It's not as cut and dry as what everybody likes to make it seem. It is really to each his own, and that's the way I see it as well.
Well, what's great is that doing this for such a long period of time, I love to analyze. I love to look at things and see what comes out of the outcome. What comes through. Well, with grooming, you can get a dog in that hair is perfectly fine. Say it's a Shih Tzu. Hair is perfectly fine, doesn't need to be shaved. The owner wants it shaved because they don't want to deal with the hair. Okay? So I'm like, all right, well, I am being paid for a service and it's not uncommon to shave a Shih Tzu. So I shaved the Shih Tzu down. When they picked up, put the collar on, walk them out to the owner, their head's kind of hanging down. To me, that says, hey, I don't like being shaved.
Right.
I might be one of those weird people who think that dogs do have true feelings and they know things.
Right.
Like if two people are mad at each other and they're fighting, dogs don't like it. They don't just sit there and say, hey, what's up? They normally show signs of hey, stop it. Come on, I don't want to hear this. Hey, stop it.
Well, look at how Roxy is when Elizabeth and I play. She does not like playing. She thinks it's me hurting Elizabeth, who is a friend of ours. Or even if I play with Sarah, if we start wrestling or tickling, she gets really upset because she thinks that I might be hurting Sarah or Sarah might be hurting me.
Exactly. And so, there's this other dog named Joey. He is a Sheltie, and all he gets is a really good de-shed and a heavy tidy, meaning that I shape up his mane, shape up his rump, his tail, his underbelly, his legs, feet. And when he leaves, he walks out with his head held high, prancing. And that's every time he leaves the grooming salon. Sorry, our daughter's playing in the play place right now as we're at McDonald's. Anywho, that happens quite a bit. We have another Shih Tzu that comes in who doesn't like her feminine sanitary done. So I have to do a very light sanitary so it doesn't get knotted. But if you do a full-on regular female sanitary and the wind blows and touches her feminine area, she plops her butt straight down. So you can see signs of dogs who don't like things. Katana, when we color her tail or if we airbrush her tail. She loves the attention. Someone comes up, oh, that's so cute, and they get that high raised baby voice, and she just goes nuts. She goes waggling her whole back end. She also does this thing that I call Yoda ears. She kind of holds her ears down and to the side, not back, not aggression, but down to the side, and she just kind of gets this dorky look on her face with her tongue hanging out. Oh, you're gonna pet me? You're gonna pet me? So when someone comes up and likes a comment on her colored tail or her airbrush cutie mark on her hip or her bum area, it's actually quite a cute thing. She enjoys it. We did a Maltese coloring the ears and the tail purple.
Yeah.
And it came out a pretty light purple, but it was pretty and subtle.
Yeah.
And dog didn't seem to mind. I mean, she just jumping up, moving her head. Nothing happened. She was playing like always.
Look at how the girl actually works with us. Her parents, they actually bid. We were part of an auction to give away 3 free grooms.
The auction was for a hometown fundraiser to help children get presents that their parents couldn't afford. It was this great event. So we put up 3 different grooming coupons for people to vote on or to bid on. And she just so happened to.
Well, her mom and dad actually just so happened to actually win them, which was a little ironic, but it was great. So
it was for a great cause.
It really was.
I really enjoyed that. We did not take a cut.
Nope.
Keith, the owner of the shop, didn't take a cut, so he donated the shampoo and the electricity and so forth. Cute little kids. But I just had to interject there. I'm sorry.
They're gone now.
Obviously, we're, again, like always, we are recording our show, and our daughter is playing. So she does make her special appearances here and there. But as I was saying with that specific dog, it's her parents' dog. It's not the coworker's dog. We just were so fortunate enough to ask her, hey, would you mind if we give it some color? And she was like, yeah, sure, that's great. Go for it. Well, ironically, her parents are not, they're obviously middle age. And they're absolutely in love with it and said, from now on, we want you to do this each time. That dog strutted as she left. She didn't have her head down. She didn't look like she was upset. That dog knew she looked good, and she was walking out proud.
Yeah, it's great. The stuff that we use has an amazing smell to it. And this one so happened to be a fruity smell. And the base of the coloring is dog conditioner. Most every dog needs conditioner, especially during the winter months. It gets dry out there. I mean, come on, ladies. You brush your hair and your hair just all of a sudden static everywhere. That's because you need some hydration. Well, that's what's great about the conditioner. It sits on, it really hydrates the coat, hydrates the skin, and leaves your pup so soft and so nice. Her ears were soft, smelled good, and it looked real nice.
Oh man,
it was awesome.
And what's funny? We asked our coworker, has the dog lost that really sweet, nice smell? Not overpowering sweet, not like it's going to attract any kind of answer. Just a really nice, sweet smell. And it was about a week later, and she says it still smells absolutely great.
See, another thing that I'm a real big, firm believer on is that you don't want to put overpowering smells on a pet. When people go shopping for shampoos for their dog, they want to find the stuff that smells the best. Yes, you have to deal with the smell when you're cuddling up, put your face right up against their fur. But you got to realize the dog has to smell it the entire time. When they're cleaning themselves, they're smelling it. So you don't want stuff overpowering. You don't want a super perfumed shampoo.
Right.
Because they got to deal with it. So that's one thing we take into consideration also with the coloring is that we don't want the strong smell.
And, there are a lot of perfumey smells that dogs can be allergic to.
Yes, a lot of dogs are allergic to perfumes. They show signs by sneezing.
Skin irritation?
Yeah, skin irritation. They show signs by trying to rub it off. Some dogs just like their naturally dirty smell.
Well, it's a scent. I mean, dogs have heightened sense, and they want to smell like what they think they are. Their signature is their scent.
Yep.
So,
One time, at the beginning of my grooming career, this is probably, I want to say, the second year in, the bather washed one dog, and then another bather washed the brother of the dog that they were washing. So the two dogs, I believe there were lab mixes with a Rottweiler, but they were brothers. The dogs were litter mates. They grew up together. They are fed in the same area together. They're best buds. But one groomer took one of them, the other groomer took the other.
The dog?
They washed them, and one of the bathers put a perfume on the other one. And I tried to tell them no, but they weren't going to listen to me. Anywho, so when the dogs were to leave, we handed one dog out at a time. Well, when we handed the second dog out, they started fighting right there in the lobby. They started literally attacking each other because they couldn't recognize each other's scent.
didn't this happen again recently? Not recently, too recently, but wasn't it with the two dogs that come in? I don't want to mention, clients' names.
No,
No?
I haven't had that issue since California.
Okay. I remember a story of that, and I blend things together.
I know
but-
I read another story like that because it was quite similar.
Okay.
It can happen. So you really don't want to put perfumes on. I try not to do it. I try to talk people out of it. And if I do put perfumes on a dog because the owner is really insistent, I take the bandana that I was going to put around them
Yeah.
and squirt the bandana so that when the bandana comes off, it's not
On
all
them.
over the body.
Right. And one of the things that we do, I can't really speak for a lot of places. I know your last salon wasn't as in depth.
Right.
But there's a pretty large questionnaire of what you want done in full detail, and you are very adamant. And some of you might be saying, well, I'm just tuning her home because she's my wife, but honestly, it really is true. This is something, refer back to episode 2 on Knowing Your Groomer. Sarah is very in-depth on asking a lot of the key questions, and especially the one question that I don't think I've ever heard in any place, and that is, what allergies or medical conditions does your dog have? And that is so important. I can't express how many times that somebody all of a sudden will pop up and say, oh, well, they have allergies to XYZ. And it'll be their first time at our salon. And it automatically starts like, well, you're probably not going to want to use the regular shampoo. It is high quality, but you're probably going to want to go with an oatmeal shampoo.
Or a hyperallergenic.
Exactly.
Yeah, quite a few people come in, and that's one of the main reasons why I asked that question. Does your pup have any allergies, any food allergies? That can mean a lot. You can come in, and we have a basic, shampoo that we use for all dogs. It's a whitening shampoo mixed with kind of like a degreaser in a sense. It smells amazing, and for most dogs, it works just fine. But when somebody comes in and says, hey, look, my dog has skin issues, they chew. Okay, well, you start with the first one. Do they have fleas?
Right.
No, I just treated him. Okay, great. Or they say, well, I'm not sure. Well, it takes a little bit of time to find them. But once we find them, then we can use a flea shampoo. But I try to steer away from the flea shampoo and just say get some treatment.
Right. And be surprised. Here's something that everybody needs to know. don't say that it's been treated when you know it hasn't, because we will find out right away.
Well, because if the dog has been treated and we're not told, and they just so happen to have fleas and we use more medicated shampoo, that's over medicating the dog way too much.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why I try to steer away from flea and tick shampoo. I'll use it if I absolutely have to.
Right.
If I know it somehow will outweigh the cons. But tell the groomer, hey, he chews. All right, chews mean take away the basic bottom line shampoo and do an oatmeal. Okay, well, my dog chews a lot. Okay, well, it's time to do a hypo. But just be open with your groomer too, and let them know what you don't like. If you don't like color on your dog, shoot, you don't have to have color on your dog. You want color on your dog? More than happy to help you out.
Well, let me stop you right there. I think we have a lot more to go on, but let's try to we want to try to keep these at around 30 minutes each. So we're going to actually kind of pick up on an episode 7. This is going to be 6 part 1, and the next one will be episode 7 part 2, kind of continue on where we're at. A little bit more on what we were talking about with AKITA World and different things that were going on there. So I'm going to stop us right there. So that way we can kind of maintain our 30-minute window. But for right now, to conclude episode 6, I'm Chris Green. Thank you for listening. Pick up on episode 7 where we're going to pick up after this.
I'm Sarah Green. Just remember, life is short. Play with your pet.
And have a pup-tastic week.